Okay, I believe we're recording now. So we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning or good afternoon, and welcome to the Maximo Sas Webinar. This is a very exciting new topic that we get to present on. I'm Tina Scott with IBM, and along with me I have Dave Gazdia and Ed Rossi, both who are Maximo product managers, and they will be taking you through the presentation today. I have muted all the phone lines, but if you have a question during the presentation, you can send that in the chat window, which is in your participant screen. In the upper right-hand corner, you will see a bubble, and just submit your question to all, and we will be checking those. And we also have Dave and Ed who will be checking and responding to them as well. We will have some time at the end where I'll open phone lines and take questions as well. We are recording today's presentation, so I will make that available to everyone either Monday or Tuesday of next week. So at this time, it is great pleasure that I turn this over to Dave Gazdia.
Thank you very much, Tina. So this is Dave Gazdia. As Tina mentioned, I'm responsible for the Maximo strategy and product management team. Today we've got a pretty exciting topic to talk about. Our newest and latest delivery option as far as Maximo Asset Management goes is a SaaS delivery. So we'll just start to go through. So we've got a number of topics we'd like to cover today. First, we'll talk a little bit about software as a service, some of the trends we've seen and reasons why we've decided to come up with a new offering for Maximo. We want to cover what is included in the Maximo SaaS offering. And then related to Maximo SaaS, we have a new way to learn about our products, and actually pretty excited because it's also another way to get some hands-on self-guided demos through what we call Service Engage. And Ed Rossi will give us a demo of that. And then, as Tina mentioned, we'll have time for some questions as well. Okay, so when we talk about SaaS, again, some of this is, we've heard a lot about SaaS. There's a lot of different types of SaaS offerings. But if we look at it from a high level, you know, what is SaaS? Well, if we look on the left-hand side of this chart, see that with a typical perpetual license model where customers have to go out and buy not only the application, but they're responsible for and have to purchase and make decisions around all the supporting infrastructure, the hardware, the middleware, the applications, services, and keeping it all up and running. So the entire stack. The shift to software as a service, if we look on the right-hand side, it really simplifies that model quite a bit. So from what we'll be offering as we go through and drill down into this, we will, from a software as a service perspective, include all the network, the hardware, the software, the middleware, and of course the application when it comes to Maximo. So it really simplifies the buying decision, but also the ongoing maintenance of the system. There are some other differences as far as how you pay for this as well. So this is a subscription-based model. But in general, this is what software as a service is all about. So what are we seeing in the market? So we've over the past few months, and actually probably about a year now, we've started to see a growing interest in software as a service. We've seen trends externally and across the market, but definitely within customers we've worked with and interest we've seen from clients and prospects. Definitely accelerated interest. We didn't anticipate this happening quite as quickly for our market, so for enterprise asset management. We really thought it would be years out, but that's really accelerated, getting increased number of questions, and the requests are coming not just locally or small companies, but really globally. We're seeing interest from all areas of the world and across multiple industries, which is really interesting to see. Again, initially when we started to hear about SaaS a few years ago, it tended to be for smaller customers, maybe not customers requiring full functional capabilities. But that's changed and actually changing pretty rapidly. The other thing we're seeing is that with existing customers, although they may have already purchased the software, many are starting to look at alternatives as far as ways to reduce costs of running their systems. So we're getting questions asked about existing customers and, can they move to SaaS, and is it something we would offer? And then, of course, some of the driving factors related to SaaS, mainly it's lowering costs, right? It's all about, can we reduce our upfront costs, kind of move from a capital expense purchasing software to more of an operational expense model where we can pay with a known monthly cost as a subscription. And that's really been a big factor. The other major big factor has been ways to customers are always looking for ways to reduce costs. And a big piece of that is, how can I reduce internal IT costs? So not just the purchasing of the software, but all the hardware that's required, the IT team that you might need to work with internally. Is there ways to reduce those costs and maybe put those to better use on other projects? And so these are some of the key pieces that we see and some of the benefits or problems customers are trying to solve by looking at a SaaS as an alternative. And so the bottom there is, we thought this was the future, but really the future is now, and it's beginning, and we see this really taking off. So how can SaaS help? Again, based on the first chart we looked at, some of the ways we deliver the software, obviously lowering the total cost of ownership, again, not having to purchase hardware, software, licenses, and then, a number of different factors here around reduced IT staff requirements or being able to put those resources onto other projects. A key factor that we believe will help, especially as we develop this over time, is faster time to value for our customers, being able to more easily roll this out within your organization, ramping up as you go, and making the adoption across your organization much more scalable and acceptable. So these are some of the key things that we think how SaaS will be able to help. Now, if you notice the star at the bottom of page this slide, complex solutions such as Maximo still require, even in a SaaS world, will require some services to get you up and implemented and the system configured the way you need to run your business. But still, a lot of upfront and long-term savings in a SaaS model. Now, when we talk about SaaS, again, a lot of the times, we all have our own vision of what SaaS is all about. We might think of products such as even Gmail or, many different products out there, ServiceNow, Salesforce.com, and a variety of offerings that, depending on the type of functionality they provide, they would kind of fall into what we would call a low-touch implementation. So the ones in the lower right-hand portion of this chart, they might add value, and you might have lots of customers using these products, but they don't require a lot of onboarding or configuration. And again, if we look at where Maximo falls, it's really more up into the middle to upper left-hand corner here, where it still is enterprise software and is going to require some onboarding and what we would call high touch. So that's kind of being able to configure the system to meet your business needs and requirements, but still get the benefits of a SaaS offering. And so this is how we kind of look at Maximo within the SaaS spectrum of solutions. So again, what is Maximo SaaS? So first off, just to mention, it's currently available. This was announced in mid-February. We just recently went through our Pulse user group meeting and made a little bit bigger splash there with the whole focus around cloud and how Maximo SaaS plays a role in that. So this is currently available. And we just want to talk about here some of what's included as well as what's not included with the SaaS offering. For those of you on the line that are familiar with Maximo, the Maximo portfolio is fairly broad and has lots of different offerings. With the Maximo SaaS solution, we wanted to really focus on how we can deliver the capabilities that will meet most customers' needs, as well as making sure that we learn as we go and can deliver the offering to make customers successful. So with that in mind, we focused on delivering core Maximo asset management, so all the full capabilities of our core solution are included with SaaS, and then some changes or some differences from what you might be able to purchase on prem licenses. So we do include Maximo Every Place, so for the ability to access mobile through mobile devices, Maximo through mobile devices, Every Place is included. We've made some other additions or changes to the solution as well. So we've included some functionality to allow for what we call operational technology, being able to track the IT aspects of operational assets. And so we've exposed some additional capabilities around that capability or functions to support those capabilities as well. From an application look and feel perspective, we've got a new application look. We have made some changes to the UI. We've applied what we call a new skin, which we believe a lot of the end users will really appreciate the look and feel of the new product and some of the ease of navigation and overall user experience. Some of this had originally been rolled out as part of our Control Desk offering, and now we're applying it to Maximo Asset Management. And then from an add-on perspective, so it's core Maximo with Every Place, and then the only add-on that's available currently with SaaS is the Maximo Scheduler. So that is available. That's the capability to manage your workforce and the resources associated with executing work and planning and managing the resources to get the work completed. What else? How do we deliver this? So this is actually all delivered within the IBM Softlayer cloud infrastructure. So that includes not only the network and the infrastructure, but from a product perspective includes, of course, all the middleware and all the capabilities that you would expect to see in a SaaS offering, such as backups and restores and recoveries are all part of the cloud infrastructure. And one thing to note, and we've gotten this question several times, so initially with this Maximo SaaS offering, this is delivered as single tenant instances, so each client would have their own instance provisioned for them. And then from a licensing or subscription-based model, so it is, again, this is SaaS, so it's all based on a subscription on a per user, per month basis with a minimum of a 1 year or 12-month contract. What you get with that, in addition to access to the product and the infrastructure, is all the supports included in that. We've got 24/7 monitoring of the system. There's an availability SLA for 99.8% uptime. It does include other things such as not only a production environment, but of course you get a non-production environment as well, so that as you configure the system and roll it out, that can be done in the non-production and then deployed out to your production environment. So what's not included? Again, Maximo has a very broad portfolio of offerings. Initially, for SaaS, none of the industry solutions are available. And again, the only add-on that is available is Scheduler, so none of the other add-ons are there. This is still Maximo enterprise application software, so there are implementation services that are required to be able to, again, configure, load data, and onboard. Of course, that effort is reduced because there is no need for all the implementation or installation aspects of getting your system up and running.
And Dave, this is Ed. I just wanted to make a quick comment on that based on a question that we had. The configurations that Dave was listing there are capabilities within SAS that can be done, as Dave mentioned, through an implementation services effort. The only thing that you cannot do is adding actual custom Java classes, and that's just a limitation that we have to ensure a reasonable standardization of the environment.
Yeah, good point, Ed. I didn't dive into all that detail, but yeah, thanks for responding. So graphically, if we look at it, this is just kind of an easy way to look at what is included, Maximo Asset Management plus every place, and down below from an add-on solution, just the scheduler. We are going to evaluate, I think, over time, how we may be able to increase the number of add-ons that are available, and perhaps eventually some of the industry solutions as well. I think the key point, and I just touched on it, in addition to making the environment available to our customers, there's a whole development operations side of it where we want to be able to keep customers current as far as fixed packs go, being able to easily maintain all the different customers that may be in the environment. And so that's part of trying to, again, eliminate customizations, certainly allowing configurations, and then, of course, having a focused number of options or deliverables as part of the solution. Okay, so from a delivery perspective, so that was kind of from the product perspective. Just spend a minute here talking a little bit about Softlayer from a data center perspective. So IBM acquired Softlayer, maybe a year ago or so, and it's being rolled out as part of multiple IBM SaaS offerings as far as the infrastructure goes. As you can see, it's a little small in this diagram, but if you can see here, they have multiple data centers. Within the U.S., there's a number of different locations. By default, our default data center is in Dallas for the U.S. rollout of Maximo SAS. There is an expansion plan, so globally we'll start to see additional data centers added around the globe and in different key geographies. But again, pretty good flexibility from availability perspective. And, Softlayer is a proven cloud environment and infrastructure. They've been up and running many years now, and again, there's a big focus area for IBM, and from a Maximo SAS perspective, we'll be able to take advantage as they expand their data center and the capabilities that are included as part of the Softlayer offering. Okay, I mentioned that in addition to offering the product, we've also had to put in place what we call a development operations group that will focus on not necessarily maintaining Maximo for each customer, but making sure that the environments are up and running. And you can see here, I won't go through every point, but there's a number of topics or features that they'll be responsible for. So everything from some of the monitoring of the incidents and solving of tickets, problem management, digging in and seeing if there are issues and making sure that the environment's up and running. Again, as we have fixed packs that need to be applied, this team will be responsible for making sure that that gets coordinated with each customer and that we can keep them current on the fixed packs. We'll also notice from a support perspective, we're introducing what we call customer support representatives, CSRs, that are focused on the Maximo SAS offering and we'll be able to help with any of the initial tickets that come in, determining if it has a problem with the environment or if it's an actual application problem, and then getting resolution to those issues that come up. So again, routing them to the appropriate team and resolving as quickly as possible. So a little bit different support model than what we have for on-prem, and again, being able to support the environment as well as any of the application problems that customers might report. This next slide, I won't go through this. We'll get a little chance to look at it from when we go through the demo on Service Engage. But again, new look and feel, leveraging some of the user experience and usability enhancements that were initially rolled out as part of our Control Desk offering. And that will now be part of the default for Maximo Sas. And then from a licensing model perspective, so I mentioned this is a subscription-based offering. A couple of things that we really wanted to focus on as far as a SaaS delivery is we wanted to simplify the licensing model, adding some flexibility with the different user types that we have, and again, aligning it with other offerings within IBM from a SaaS perspective. And so with Maximo Sas, we'll have authorized users. So these are full users that typically need to make sure that they always have the ability to, are entitled to get in and do work within the system. So system administrators or supervisors, people that are always in the system. And then we've introduced the concurrent use license for the SaaS, Maximo Sas as well. And so this might be for the bulk of your users that either get in infrequently or occasional users. They get in, they update some work orders, do some work within the system, and then get out. So combination of the authorized and the concurrent use licenses. And of course, from a self-service perspective, just like we've introduced a year ago or so on-prem where self-service users are free, that's true in the SaaS world as well. So anyone will have the ability to get in and create a service request, report a problem, etc., as part of that self-service applications. Okay. So from there, I'll start to transfer over to Ed, but the next portion of this, Ed's going to take us through what we call Service Engage, and we've launched this along with the announcement of Maximo Sas as a place to go and learn more about our products. So let me pass this over to Ed so Ed can take us through this.
Thanks, Dave. And while you're doing that, there was a question that was asked about license types, and the question was, could they be mixed? Do you always have to have one of a certain kind? And the short answer is absolutely. That's the normal scenario that we have, that a license, the licenses, the models will be, or the metrics themselves will be mixed. So you'll have a set of authorized users that are focused on, the ones that spend a good portion of their day, excuse me, in the application should be authorized. And then for concurrent users, that's for folks that spend a lesser portion of their day, a couple of times a week or 3 or 4 times, depending on their scenario. And so the key is just to understand that the concurrent user is a high watermark, and you need to cover you need to have enough licenses to cover the kind of the high point of when people are logging in to take care of whatever work they need to do.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks. So you should be the presenter now.
Great, and I'm just pulling that up right now. Okay. Dave, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, fantastic. So welcome, everyone. Let me just echo Dave's sentiments on that. I'm glad you could join us today. My name is Ed Rossi. I'm also in product management working with Dave on Smarter Infrastructure and Maximo. And today what I want to do is take you through a brief demo of IBM Service Engage. And what we're going to do is this is a website, a portal that's open to everyone. and I certainly encourage you to log in and access it. It is no login ID or password required, open to anyone at any time. And what I'm going to do is show you some of the elements that are in here and just give you a sense of it. But the real value is for you to spend some time in it yourself so you can see some of the demos and walk through some of the scenarios yourself. So at this level here on Service Engage, this is kind of our main page. And this is what you see when you first log in. And you see a couple things. First of all, there's a large banner up in the upper section that scrolls over periodically. And what that's doing is showing you the various offerings that we have available. And right now it's listed on Internet of Things, and underneath you see that says Maximo. And let me just point that out here. And so the Internet of Things is a phrase that we're using for Maximo, and that's because Maximo is kind of a part of the Internet of Things. And we're going to be kind of looking at that in more detail down the road. And we just kind of wanted to introduce the concept. But the information on this portion of it is all about Maximo. Some of the other offerings that we have on here include performance management, IT service management, which is our Smart Cloud Control Desk offering, workload automation, and then the fourth one is Internet of Things. And you can access the various offerings if you want by clicking on these buttons that are in the middle, but probably more easy for you would be to select the catalog option on the top menu bar and then select Internet of Things. So what this does is bring you into the main screen. And let me first mention that you see here on the top right-hand corner the word beta. I do want to emphasize that what is beta is the content that's listed in here, and it's really a very late beta. The offering that Dave just described, Maximo Asset Management for SaaS, is out available in GA form. So the only thing that's beta here is that we are kind of doing an open beta in order to get some comments and feedback from our clients, business partners, and other internal IBMers on some of the things that we've put in here. And we certainly welcome your input at any point. We'd love to have you give us some of your thoughts on pro and con, good and bad, on what's in here, ways we could improve it, information that you think would be relevant that you don't see, or anything else. So perhaps we can, Tina, perhaps we can work out a way to get to make sure that Dave and I's email address is available to the folks here to do just that.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So let me jump in here. I'll start with the overview page, and really what this is just an introduction. This is intended for folks just like yourself who want to get more information about Maximo for SaaS, who want to understand the offering and some of the benefits that you can get out of it. And we start with just kind of a high level. You see videos throughout the website that are similar to this. I'll kick it off just so you have a sense, and I'll launch, just to point out, we can put it in full screen. I'm not going to put the video in because the sound isn't going to flow through here, or I'm not going to complete the video. But I encourage you to take a look through these videos. They're at different levels. This is a high-level conceptual video, and we drive down deeper into all the way down to sort of a how-to scenario. A little bit below that here, we have some references under market-leading technology to some of the analysts that have looked at Maximo and have rated it in various quadrants and areas. And we have a good relationship with the analysts. We work with them to help them to understand our vision and our direction, and they have a good sense of what we're trying to do, and these are summaries of where they feel that we position within the overall market. A little bit below that here in the next section are client success stories, and these are basically videos about various clients that we have and some of the things that they've been doing. Again, if you click on it, you'll see it pops up into a screen. This one here is for City of Cambridge, and it'll tell you some information about how they're using Maximo to accomplish their business needs. As Dave mentioned, the SaaS offering is basically identical to the main offering, with the exception that we have some limits on on industry solutions and a couple of other areas. But the core offering is exactly the same. So the information that you see here is really applicable for both on-premise and SaaS in terms of the capability and functionality of the product. So let me jump down to over to the next screen here. This is kind of driving down into a little bit more detail. So first, we've just got some basic screenshots. We want to get you a sense of what it is that the product looks like in various forms. Here's a screenshot, and it kind of shows on the left-hand side, and I'll jump into the product itself in just a minute, that the left-hand navigation bar that Dave mentioned, and that's a new feature for this version of Maximo. So again, here the goal is just to give you a quick sense, kind of an idea of some of the screens that are available to you. Driving into a little bit more detail, we have some videos that kind of give you a sense, will sort of walk you through a scenario. In this case, this is self-service. And if you kick off the video, then it will navigate through and give you that information. So I do encourage you to listen to these on your own time so that you're able to appreciate the information and also have the audio content associated with it. And you'll see that we have several of these. You'll note these secondary tabs are consistent across this website, and you want to be aware of those just so you don't miss sets of information. Next tab down, again, is on details. This starts out with sort of an overview of the product, just to make sure we have that summary. Some product requirements, and this is really the requirements for accessing Maximo SAS. So these are the browser standards that we support from logging into the application from an end user perspective. Under white papers, we have some more information.
Ed, sorry to interrupt. We just got a question around databases, and just wanted to let everyone know. So as part of the Maximo SAS image that we provision, it's DB2 is the database, WAS is the app server. So we don't have options as far as SQL Server or Oracle goes. So just thought I'd throw that out there, Ed, as you were talking about browsers.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Dave. And that standard is consistent with a SAS methodology, where our goal is to streamline the process, standardize on a specific set of middleware tools, and that enables us to deliver this offering to you, more quickly, easily, and less expensively. So here are some white papers that I encourage you to take a look at. These are some more case studies, and if you click here on View More, there'll be yet a whole nother section that you can select from. And let me just do that briefly just so you understand. When you first get here, it's sort of blank, but then if you click on any of these pull-downs, these are all various clients that we've worked with and a video explaining some of the things that they're doing. Okay. And finally, the analysts. This is additional information on top of what's listed on the very front of the screen as well. So on Extend, one of the things that we do, and there was a question earlier when Dave was speaking about integrations, we absolutely do multiple integrations with this product. Most of the integrations that we can do on the on-premise solution. There are some configuration, needs. Obviously, we've got to put a VPN together, but it is our expectation that overall this solution is going to be part of a hybrid solution where Maximo's on SaaS, but some of the other offerings and products may be on-premise. Certainly, it's our expectation to hook up with your LDAP system, your HR data, for example, to pull feeds in, to populate some of the user data. And there's other areas that we can link in. And these are some videos of some other products that we link with. This one's Omnibus, and certainly Smart Cloud Control Desk, which is built on the same platform. We don't have pricing information. I think Dave covered that here. But certainly, we feel free to give us a shout. However, is the easiest mechanism for you to reach out to us, and we'd be glad to touch base. So let me jump in here on live demo. This is really what it implies. What we've done here is created a few basic personas, user roles, that we think are representative of the types of folks that would work within Maximo. And this is something that we're continuing to work with. We'll be expanding. We've had some suggestions on additional personas, and we certainly appreciate any comments that we could get from you as well on the same topic. Let me give you a sense of how this works. By clicking in here to the work requester, there are a set of basic tasks that that person does, and I have an option in some cases to watch a video. And what this is a video on how to do, the specific task of that user. Or we have some other options here, and that is to be able to try it now. So let me go ahead and do that. When I click on Try It Now, what I'm doing is actually logging in to Maximo. So what we're seeing here on the left-hand side is Maximo itself. This may be a little bit better view of the application left-hand toolbar, one example of some of the new kind of UI tweaks that we've done. You may notice a few other subtle changes that we've added to the product just for increased usability and ease of viewing. What we're seeing here is that on the right-hand side, this is what we call a guided or curated demo, and on the right-hand side, we have a series of just a few steps, in this case 4, that will allow you to walk through yourself to understand what it is that you're going to do. So if I wanted to understand what to do next, I would expand this image. Let's try that. There we go. So the image expanded, and I see that I need to search solutions. So I'm going to click up here, and this is a live demo, so I can go ahead and log access. I'm going to do a search solutions, and then if I wanted to follow the demo, I'll click here to say, okay, it's suggesting that I put in a keyword of monitor under keywords, so I'll type monitor and click on find. And this gives me an opportunity to view the solutions on several monitors. So I can click on one of these solutions, and I can see that I'm giving a solution detail, a cause, a resolution. And then on the very bottom, I can do some ranking on these. I can say, okay, that's a good solution. I can enter my own comments. And then I can save that information. And that's something that other folks can see later on in this solution. So I'm not walking through I'm not going to go through each of the various scenarios. I very much encourage you to do that. My goal here is to give you a sense of what it is that we have here within Service Engage. And I also point out that the demo that you see, the demo that's listed on the right-hand side, is just one simple walkthrough demo. You are within the product at this point. I could click on, create service request and create myself a new service request. I basically can do anything that I'm allowed to based on my user role. You're going to see here that I'm essentially an end user here, so I've got a fairly limited request. If I go back to this area here, if I jumped in, for example, as a maintenance supervisor, as Lester, then I'm going to have more capabilities. So I would move to one of these actions, find an option that says Try It Now, and go ahead and click on in. And again, I've got a demo on the right-hand side. And if I want to, I can minimize that, so I can just be directly in the product. So now I'm actually in the application. I have a set of functionality that's available to me. For those of you who are familiar with Maximo, these are areas that the applications or modules on the left-hand side are what you have access to, your overall capability. But what's going to be more common for you is to work with your favorite applications, quick inserts, and other sets of capabilities. So, for example, if I clicked on Assets, that's going just a little slow right this second. But as we go through in here, you'll see that there are a set of queries on the right-hand side that have been predefined, a list of new service requests, things like that. Now I've navigated into Assets, and I can take a look at some of the assets that are in here and play around with this. So this is a demo data, and you can do as much as the rights of the user that you're logged in to allow. For example, I could create a new asset here, and you can walk through that process. Maximo is a very powerful tool, and so we allow a fair amount of detail. We also enable you to kind of reduce the level of detail very easily and quickly through some of our screen designers. And our goal is to give you initially a large set of information that you can pick from to say this is what's important to me, and then simply hide the rest. And that's a function that's very easy to do, and that allows you to see the screen information that's relevant for you and to hide what's not. So let me bring this back up here. So in this area, there are a couple other elements too, and I do want to point out the frequently asked questions. I think that will address a few areas that you might have concerns on. And one question that we had that came up earlier when Dave was speaking was about security. And I just want to point this question here out, or this response. We are compliant with our internal security standards, which are pretty stringent, focusing on standards like SSAE 16 and ISO 27000. There was a specific question earlier about data security, and as Dave mentioned, these are single instance environments. So you have your own database instance. There's nobody else that will log in or access that data. We are not currently multi-tenancy. So there's quite strong security in terms of, in case you think that another SaaS client would be able to access your data. That's absolutely not the case. And then Softlayer itself, this question here addresses the Softlayer level security, which is very stringent. So I do encourage you to take a look at those FAQs and see if you have any other information. And then we have additional resources here: documentation, video gallery, blogs, forums. So areas that you can go to, learn more about the product, learn and talk to and interact with the people that are using the product today, and get a sense from them on some of the challenges and solutions that they have, and potentially be able to participate yourself. All right. So that was kind of the extent of what I was looking to touch base on. I'll point out here we have a couple more red buttons. These buttons are simply going to point you to information and to a phone number that you can contact to kind of move forward. We were trying to be consistent at the Service Engage page, and there are some other offerings that do offer direct free trials from this page, and that's because those are more tool-oriented products that it makes more sense. Whereas with Maximo, we do want to understand some of your business requirements and walk through with you a little bit of how you could address those business requirements, rather than have you navigate through the product and attempt to understand that wholly on your own. In terms of purchase, the same scenario. This is just giving you an information about an 800 number to call. However you want to contact us, this number certainly will work along with any other avenue that you currently have. So, Dave, guys, I think I'm kind of done on my short demo. Perhaps what we can do is kick into a Q&A session. And let me navigate over and see, first of all, if we have any. Dave, were there any questions that we needed to address here?
I think I've been doing my best to respond. I think a lot of questions from our business partners that are on the line about you know, some of the configuration capabilities they'll have access to when they'll need to work with DevOps. So those questions I think we'll have to answer offline here.
Okay, sounds good.
So why don't Ed and Dave, do you want me to go ahead and open up the phone line since we have a smaller group today, and we'll go ahead and take those questions?
Sure.
Okay, and then if I can just ask the audience, when you ask a question, if you'll just tell us your name and who you're with, and I will go ahead and unmute the lines.
All participants are now in interactive talk mode.
All right, Babu, thank you.
Okay, if there are any questions out there, you can go ahead and ask.
It does look like there's been a few questions up front, which is terrific, and we appreciate that. You know, this is an offering for us that's been, you know, that we think is, as Dave said, very relevant in terms of the delivery model, and something that we'll see an increasing, you know, direction on. And this for us is one that today is slightly more constrained. As Dave said, we don't include some of the industry verticals, but that's all those are areas that we will look at. And with the SaaS model, we have the opportunity to address those more quickly because we're able to simply push the solution out ourselves.
Hi, Ed. This is John Gold. I did have a quick question. When it comes to customers that currently have on-prem installations and they're looking to migrate to the cloud, you know, obviously DB2 being a standard database, there's going to be some crosswalks that have to happen if they have different systems. Have you guys developed any sort of licensing crossover models or any thought to how you guys are going to handle moving from on-prem to the cloud?
Yeah, sure. So we are actively looking at kind of a step-up option from a licensing perspective for on-premise clients that will kind of, you know, offer a bit of a discount relative to the current pricing for SaaS, and you know, enable a little bit of an easier path to go through. Obviously, the migration process itself will still have to occur. And we're looking to get, Dave, do we have a timeline on that licensing? That's still
on
a
the
little
step
bit out,
up,
right?
Yeah. So we're in the process of evaluating that. As you could tell, or if you noticed or picked up, I'm sure you all did, that the licensing metrics are a little different. So we have authorized and concurrent, and so we're trying to figure out how do you map a customer that is on-prem with either limited and express, you know, to the new license metric for SaaS. So that we're working through that now. We don't have a date right now, but we know we're urgently digging into it.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Other questions? I see Jason's got a question online on would customers be able to create custom applications in App Designer?
Yeah. So Ed,
and you just responded, Dave. Sorry.
Well, I was trying to. I got stuck there. So yeah. So the idea is that, you know, as Ed talked about, and I mentioned, you know, we don't want any custom code. Now, with that said, you know, you'll have access to the application designer as well as DB config. So definitely you can have cloned applications, and I guess you could have custom applications, you know, between DB config and app designer. It's just, you know, you don't want to go down a path where you're creating a lot of custom code that will either be impacted when we try to apply fix packs or, of course, during any kind of future upgrades. So, yeah, within limitations, I think you'd be able to create applications.
And our general goal with with SAS and the model, the kind of industry model of SAS is to be as standardized as possible with regard to our ability to update and upgrade. And that's really kind of where we're drawing the line today. As Dave mentioned, configurations and even closed apps are things that we can typically support in an upgrade, and we just want to be careful about moving past that.
Ed and Dave, this is Marty Strobel with Leidos in New Orleans. What about interfaces, like with PeopleSoft or Documentum or Bentley EB, or how do you deal with interfaces?
Yep. So we have we have the capability with the SAS tool to support most of the interfaces that we do on premise. There are some constraints that we have in place, at least initially. So we're not supporting a couple of the existing interfaces straight up. But for example, mostly we're going to, we'll set up a VPM. And as I had mentioned earlier, with a hybrid solution, it is our expectation that we will interface with on-premise solutions using our kind of standard capabilities. So integration framework, other areas. Our focus on interfaces is primarily, at the kind of APM level. We're not. We want to stay away from database level interfaces, but that's the norm anyway today.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Ed, there's been a request for the address for Service Engage. So
Certainly. I'll do that right now.
Maybe we can paste that out there and get that there. The other thing, Tina, this session was recorded. We'll also be glad to distribute the presentation itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll probably be Monday, no later than Tuesday, and I'll get the URL out to everyone who has registered along with the presentation. So yes, absolutely. Everyone on this call will receive that. Any final questions? I'm sorry, Dave, were you about to say something?
No.
For someone?
Nope.
Okay.
This is Ed. I was just saying, it sounds like we're wrapping up.
Thank you very much, Dave and Ed. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you guys
it's a very nice presentation. And as you get questions or as they come up, feel free to send those to me, and then I can forward those off to Ed and Dave. So, I'm sure as you're thinking on this presentation and if you listen to the replay and questions come up, feel free to reach out to me. So, okay. Well, if there are no further questions, we will go ahead and end the call. Dave, Ed, any final comments or thoughts?
No, just thank you, everyone. And again, this is the beginning of what we think will be a long adventure here. Hopefully expanding our SAS offering as we learn more and get more feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, everyone have a great weekend and be looking for an email from me early next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.